What is going on, you lovely ladies and gentlemen of the world? I am sitting currently on a +R replay theater. I wanted to check out some good Cliff. The unfortunate part is that since +R is such an old game, a lot of the footage you're going to find is just terrible quality, which makes me very sad. But I found on Dustloop's character pages. I should actually do that for I should do that for Testament. On Dustloop's character page, they have a section dedicated to notable players, and they have like an example, so a link to one video featuring that player. And so there was one that featured a lot of Cliff. I want to say his name was Hassa, if I remember correctly. Really good Cliff. So I'm sitting on that, but I wanted to talk because Steam is having a fighting game sale for the weekend. It is through from yesterday until the 16th. So by the time I post this, which is going to be the morning after I record this, there will be about 2 more days left in the sale. You should definitely go scope it out. There's some really good deals. The aforementioned +R is 80% off. It's $3 right now, and you can go check out you automatically get access to the public beta that they're having for the GGPO. Like, go get on that. But it's kind of hilarious because I'm looking at this, and it's like, let me just mention some of the notable things that I am seeing. Soul Calibur 6 is 84% off. Mortal Kombat 11 is 60% off. The aforementioned +R, 80% off. Tekken 7, 75% off. Street Fighter 5, 60% off. Dragon Ball FighterZ, 84% off, right? So like these are all mostly the big fighters of the day. And then you keep going. And there's Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, 35% off. That is the one game I would say that should be the least stingy at this point in time, because they have, I feel, the most controversy going on from a business standpoint. How they've handled the game, especially the PC version. So I'm very surprised that they have like the lowest discount available. That's crazy to me. But there's also, there's, even if you're not interested in fighting games, there's a bunch of not fighting games on sale too. Like Castle Crashers is on here. That is not a fighting game. Guacamelee is on here. That is a Metroidvania. What's another? Fury is on here, which is not a fighting game. So there's other stuff. Like there's some beat 'em ups. There's some, as mentioned, Guacamelee is a Metroidvania. Streets of Rage 4 is on here too. So there's plenty of good deals. Go scope that out. But what do I want to actually do? I have anything else to talk? I got nothing. One thing I've wanted to talk about this for a while, and it's kind of difficult for me because, like, so one of the comments, right, about the Guilty Gear video that I had was it after Giovanna's release? Well, but like, I can't even remember specifically what I talked about. And honestly, I don't, like, that's how little it matters to me. But one of the comments there was like, dude, stop being so negative. And I get that. And I've been feeling that for a while, that like, my feelings regarding pretty much all current and recent fighting games are just unilaterally negative. I don't have much good to say. And that's not intentional. Like, I'm not trying to just bring down the mood constantly, but I also know a constant source of negativity is not fun in any way whatsoever. And so I was looking for something good. Like, let me figure out something good to talk about. Thank God that King of Fighters, what was it? Was it 2002 Ultimate Match? Got the rollback netcode and has been doing really well for itself. And now +R got the rollback beta and has been doing incredibly well for itself. And now I think we're all kind of sitting here hoping, like, let's see King of Fighters 13 catch that. Let's see one of the more, like, Blaze Blue catch that. Let's see this get updated for some of the games that we've been able to play more recently and that we really love and enjoy, but that just didn't have good online experiences, for the love of God. Let's see that, right? And so there have been some positive points recently. But it's like, I just wanted to kind of address that because I know, like I mentioned, I have Dead or Alive 6? What? Hang on, that's the wrong window. I do not own Dead or Alive. Do I? I do? What? When did I buy it? Well, okay, hang on. Because Dead or Alive 6 it's a free-to-play game, right? So, like, is that why it's in my life? Like, did I buy this? I don't think I bought. Okay, no, yeah, it does say buy. So I must have just. Oh, that's right, because before it went free to play, there was like a free weekend where you could play it, where you had like 4 characters unlocked or something like that, and you could play. Okay, that explains it. I was gonna say because I was just scrolling through the page again, just looking at it, and I saw Dead or Alive 6 listed as being in my library. I was like, I don't think I've played Dead or Alive since 3. I want to say maybe 4. I think I played 4. But yeah, that's right, because I think I played it like before it went officially free to play. It was available like for a free to play weekend, so I installed it for that. Anyway, but yeah, so like I'm not sitting here like looking expressly trying to find things to be negative. I'm not sitting here thinking like, what can I bitch about today? What can I rant about today? That's not what I'm interested in. It would be really good if I was trying to clickbait people. If that was my main intention, it would be fantastic because there's a lot of really, like, so for instance, it would be really easy right now to make a Nate Talks about like the whole Wi-Fi controversy that's going on right now, right? For those of you that may be out of the loop, Tekken 7 released their Season 4 patch. And as part of that patch, they included a way to see that whether or not somebody had a wired connection or if they were on Wi-Fi. And so because of that, a lot of people that are on Wi-Fi have been raging, basically, because a lot of people are dodging them now. Like, they just see that they're on Wi-Fi and they're like, nope, not going to bother with it. You go find somebody else. And so people are posting like, no, I can't find any matches. Nobody wants to play me. This is bullshit. This is unfair. This isn't right. Like, you shouldn't have done that, because now it's just, for those of us that have no choice, there's nothing we can do about it. And it's like, the thing that you have to understand. I'm stuck on Wi-Fi. I am one of those people. I literally have no choice. There is no option. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm too lazy to run a cable through my house. I can't be bothered to buy a cable. It's nothing like I am literally forced into using Wi-Fi on campus. There are no Ethernet connections available. They removed that a few years back, which absolutely blows, but it is the circumstance that I am forced into, right? So I understand, like, this entire time that I've been here, I really haven't been playing fighting games because I understand how imperative having a really solid, stable connection is to having a good match. And Wi-Fi is not conducive for that. It never will be. It's terrible. Like, even when I'm playing something like a MOBA, I've lost team fights because my connection dips at a random moment, at a very important moment, and it costs me the match. Or not the match, but it costs me the team fight. Right? And that is far more likely to happen for something to occur at an imperative moment in a fighting game match than it is for that to happen in a MOBA. And like, it happens nearly every single time. When you're in a fighting match, there's some point where you're going to get some packet loss, or your connection is just going to get slowed down. There's going to be some interference, something like that. Something bad's going to happen. And it's going to ruin the match solely because you are on Wi-Fi. People don't want to deal with that. And they shouldn't have to deal with that. It's unfair. And so it's perfectly acceptable. Plus, since we all know now that Harada has mentioned that 50% of the Tekken player base that are playing online are using a Wi-Fi connection in the first place, y'all should just be playing each other, right? There's plenty of people on Wi-Fi. Y'all just play each other. Is there a way, now that I think about it, I mean, I could just install it myself to find out, but I would hope that they would add a way to sort by connection as well. So you make it so it's like, only give me wired connections. Don't give me any Wi-Fi, only give me wired. So that way, all the wired people can just play each other, and all the Wi-Fi people can just play each other. And be absolutely miserable because both of them are on Wi-Fi and they're both struggling with the inherent connection issues that provides. Good fucking luck with that. But so that's the thing, like, it sucks for me. I hate it. I hate being on Wi-Fi, and I hate not really being able to play fighting games because I know that the potential to ruin the match because of connection-based issues is so much higher. That's just something you have to deal with, man. And like, it just blows my mind how selfish some people are, that they're just like, who cares that the connection's fine 95% of the time? Well, like, that 5% of the time can cost somebody a match, and that's just not fair. It's not cool. I don't even know why I went on that tangent, because like I said, I'm here. Well, I mean, that is a positive change. You should be able to know that somebody is on a Wi-Fi connection, that you run a risk of having connection issues because of it. You should be aware of that, and you should be able to say, no, that's not cool. I mean, it's the exact same thing with saying no to a 2-bar connection. Like, you have a shitty connection. There's no point in playing it. Same thing with Wi-Fi. Like, that's just how it's going to be. That was why, like, back in the day of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, most people that played it learned that, like, when you're playing ranked, don't automatically, if somebody pops in and it shows a 5-bar connection, don't instantly hop into the match. Don't automatically accept it. Sit there and wait for a bit. Because the connection bar will fluctuate in real time. And so you can tell if somebody's on Wi-Fi or has an otherwise spotty connection, because if you sit there for like, give it at least 5-10 seconds, it may waver a bit. And if it wavers, get the hell out, right? People learn that very quickly. People should be aware of these issues. They should know it, and they should be able to reject those kind of connections, just like somebody should be able to reject a 1-bar connection or a 2-bar connection based upon how good the netcode is. It's just how it is, man. And like it really does blow my mind to see how angry some people have gotten that Tekken added that. Anyway, what else do I want to talk about? There's not a whole lot to talk about. How many of you guys have gotten PlayStation 5s or Xbox? Is it called Xbox Series X? I genuinely don't know what to call it, because like the problem with the Xbox, both the problem and the good thing, is that Microsoft has announced that every single game moving forward that they release for the Xbox is going to be available on the PC as well. There's no more console exclusive games for them. If it's on the Xbox, it's going to be available on PC too. And so ultimately what that does inevitably mean is that there's no real need to have an Xbox anymore if you have a solid PC. So it's good in the sense that, you know, like you're not feeling like you have to buy an Xbox. On the flip side of that, it is going to affect sales, right? But I've seen a lot of people getting really amped up about getting PS5s or being really irritated that they can't get a PS5. I haven't seen any of that around the Xbox. But still, like, what games are even out for the PS5 right now? I typed in what games in the very first answer. The result in Google is what games are out for PS5. Like, I know Demon's Souls is one of them. Oh, Spider-Man. That's a really good one. Horizon is not out. Ratchet and Clank, Gran Turismo, those are not out. Those two I haven't heard anything about. I don't think those are out either. I'm fairly certain none of these games are actually available right now. Yo, that's bullshit. Godfall is out, which I didn't really give a shit about. Yo, like, I'm almost positive the majority of these games that they are listing are games. Oh yeah, release date to be announced. Release date 2nd February. Yeah. Here we go. Here's every single PS5 game available at launch. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I have heard is pretty whatever. Borderlands 3, which is not new. Astro's Playroom. I've heard a lot about that, but I have no idea what it is. Like, I've seen a lot of people talking about it, but I don't know what it is. Bug Snacks. I think there's a decent amount of hype around that. Demon's Souls, obviously. Okay, so there's a bunch of, like, backwards compatible games here. But almost nothing, very little that's new. What the fuck is Gunya Fighter? I don't even want to know. So yeah, so the games that I recognize as being like actual launch titles and not games that are available for other consoles or for PC as well. This Astro's Playroom, Bug Snacks, Demon's Souls, Godfall. Well, Godfall I think is available on PC, but I think it's also Epic Game exclusive, which, fuck Epic Games. Marvel, Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I'm surprised No Man's Sky has. I think that's it. I think the rest of these are all. That's very little. There's really not much. Like, for me personally, I couldn't care less about the PS5 right now. Like, yeah, I want to play Demon's Souls eventually, but like, Bloodborne for me was a must play. Like, Bloodborne sold the PS4 for me. The Demon's Souls remake isn't quite that hype. For me, what I'm looking forward to the most is Horizon. And then here's another list of games that are coming out soon but that weren't available as launch games. And there's nothing here either. Like Oddworld Soulstorm I want to play, but it's not like a must buy. It's not something I can't wait for. Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, to be fair, the pandemic definitely affected all of this. It affected game development in a huge way, and so a lot of games missed their launch windows. But yeah. So how many of you guys did get lucky enough to buy a PS5? Because I know there's a lot of botting for it. There's a lot of reselling. Let me just go scope it. I looked at eBay earlier just because I wanted to see what they were selling for, and I didn't see a single one lower than $800. And these are ones that had bids on them too. It wasn't just like, okay, here's one for $760. But yeah, like these are games that have, these are consoles that have bids on them. $830 for the digital version? Like all that I can hope, I know that's not the case. I know it's not the case, but I really like hope and pray that all of these are just a bunch of resellers bidding on the consoles, like doing bidding wars with each other. And so they're going to buy this for, like $900, and they're going to go in and try to resell it for $950 or some bullshit. It's not actual legitimate consumers buying this at literally double the price of the console. That's insane. I hate this, man. I hate seeing limited products being resold. And it hurts even more because people buy, like, if everybody just made a deal to like, no, we can just wait. We can just wait a week. We can wait a month. We can wait, however long. We can be patient. This shit would go away overnight. Like, the problem would solve itself because these people would have lost the money they spent buying it, paying for shipping, etc., etc. They'd be out that money. And now they're stuck with a PS5. And then, like, they either have to sell it for lower, like, either have to sell it at market value or sell it below market value because they need to at least recoup some of the cost, right? They never wanted it for themselves. They just wanted it for the profit. And so if people would just stop buying this, people would stop buying extra versions and reselling. It's just so frustrating to see because this happens for so many things. And it's happened for a fair few chunk of things that I've gotten myself as well. Where, like, they come out and they're super limited. The one that always comes to mind for me is the Fire Emblem Fates, like, special edition. The one that came with all 3 games on one cartridge. Like, that was reselling for something like 4 to 5 times market value. People really wanted that. And I was lucky enough to get it. And it never even occurred to me to try to resell it. But, like, you can make legitimately good money if you buy stuff like consoles or limited edition launch versions of stuff like that and resell them. And it sucks that people keep buying it. Oh, just stop that and people will stop reselling. It's tragic. Okay, so anyway, so all of that, like I said, I came here because I wanted to talk about some positivity. And then it was just mostly negative. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't anything negative about fighting games, right? Like, the Wi-Fi indicator is a good thing. And it's something they should definitely have, that all games should have moving forward. You should be aware of that. You should know it. This is coming from somebody that, again, I'm stuck on Wi-Fi until I can go home for winter break. And then when I come back, because I do have to come back, I have more, I have on-campus classes again next quarter. So that's another 11 weeks guaranteed that I'm here. Stuck on Wi-Fi. I have no choice, and I still support that. I mean, it does suck, but that's just the nature of Wi-Fi. And it's always going to be the nature of Wi-Fi. It's a literal physics issue. Like, it's not something like, oh, my Wi-Fi connection is really good, don't worry about it. Like, no, your Wi-Fi connection is not more powerful than the laws of physics. Sorry, bro, that's not how it works. But I do want to play. I want to play, because, like, what was I even going to talk about? I don't want to spoil what I'm going to do, so I'm not going to. But I'm going to be playing a few different fighting games that don't have Wi-Fi indicators. So people don't know going in that they're going to get fucked over by me. I kind of wonder, maybe I make a rule where, like, well, that's the other point too, is like, because you can't know if a connection issue crops up. You don't know that that's on your end, right? Because I was going to say, like, maybe I make a rule where if the connection dives for any reason whatsoever, if the match is close, I just give up. I DQ myself, that kind of thing. Just make a rule for it, right? Fairness, that's my trade-off. Plus, the games that I'm playing, number one, online rank doesn't really matter to me in the first place. But the games that I would be playing definitely don't matter to me. God, I'm still, I will never, ever not be able to get over the fact that, let's actually talk about that a little bit. I'll talk about that. Guilty Gear's new tower system. I don't understand the point of it. Because the devs are basically saying, so to me, what it sounds like is that it is ranked. They're just not calling it ranked, right? Because if you haven't heard, if you're not paying attention, Guilty Gear is making it so that, so as far as I can tell, are there just no more rooms whatsoever? There's no more player match rooms. There are definitely no arcade lobbies. There's no ranked queue. There's nothing. It's just everything is in that tower, right? But here's the issue. There's one of two ways that they can handle this tower. Number one is that it's just self-policed. I shouldn't really say self-policed, but you get to decide where you can go, right? So somebody who is absolutely garbage and brand new at the game can just walk in and be like, yo, I'm the best player in the world. I'm going to the top floor and I'm going to compete up here, right? Which kind of renders the entire point of it irrelevant. That's option number one. Option number two is that you need to work your way up each floor. So it's you start the bottom floor and you have to win, 10 matches in order to prove. Now that I think about it, what if they do that as the replacement for the colored square system? Because I think ac+r did have that to a degree, but it wasn't really showcased. It wasn't as in your face as it is in BlazBlue or Under Night Birth, or I guess Grand Blue Fantasy Versus now as well. It wasn't quite as obvious that it was there, but I think it was still there in some capacity. But then, so you have that kind of same rule set, right? Where it's all right, to get to the next floor, you have to get 10 more wins than you have losses, and then you can move up a floor, right? Or if you get 10 more losses than you have wins, you get knocked down a floor, that kind of thing. So there's mechanics behind what floor you're on. You don't get to choose which floor you go to. It's based upon your win rate and how well you do in competition against other players, which that's just a ranked queue. And so it's ranked without calling it ranked, which is just stupid in and of itself. But so I feel I like the idea that you have one centralized area for everybody to gather. I like that. Because especially when you have games that have smaller player bases in general. On the flip side of that, the tower is ugly as hell, and I just can't think of a mechanic behind it that will function, that won't be awkward or weird, that wouldn't just be... what's wrong, for instance, with Dragon Ball FighterZ version of this, right? Where you have one centralized lobby that you join, you see everybody there, but you still have a bunch of different modes that you can go to. You have a bunch of different modes that you can compete in. And Dragon Ball FighterZ is the only anime game where people actually played ranked as well. There was a huge amount of people playing ranked, and people are still playing ranked to this day. And I don't know, man. I just can't think of any way that they can make this tower that isn't going to, at the very least, be awkward, and at worst, just be shit and drive people away. I genuinely can't see it. And I don't understand why it's they're out here trying to reinvent the wheel. When it's been shown that, the way things function, it works fine. Ranked works perfectly fine for Street Fighter, it works great for Tekken, worked for Dragon Ball FighterZ. Anime games are the only games where people don't play ranked. And even then, that's only outside of the Asian communities. The Asian communities play ranked all day long. They're always playing ranked. It's just us, for some reason, that don't like it. I don't know why. I would love to play ranked. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm gonna do it. I'm done. Yeah, I don't know. Hope y'all are enjoying. If you are some of the lucky few that did get a PS5, that giant brick of a console, hope you're enjoying it. Hope it doesn't have any problems. That's another thing that concerns me about launch day consoles. All that I can, because the first console that I ever bought for myself was an Xbox 360. Everything before then was either purchased as like a gift for the holidays from family. Like that was how I got the Game Boy Color for the very first time, was like an agreed upon thing where like that was the only gift I got from every single family member. They all pitched in to what they would normally spend on gifts, and I got a Game Boy Color off of that, right? The original Xbox, I actually won a raffle for that. Didn't have to buy it. Didn't have to pay for it, thank God, because I probably would never have gotten one. But the Xbox 360 I bought with my own money, and it got Red Ring of Death. And then the second Xbox that I got Error 74. So that's all I can remember when I think about buying new consoles. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let launch day consoles kind of ride for a while. Let them work out the kinks first before I dive in. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, thank you all for listening. I'm out. Peace.